The NFL trade deadline has come and it has gone. So on today's show, we look at the best available free agents that the Baltimore Ravens might want to sign, might want to add to this roster, and might just want to give a chance to see if they can help this team and namely this defense improve little by little. How's it going, everybody? Welcome into Ravens Rundown. I'm your host, Joey Peterson. Hope you are enjoying your stress-free weekend. No football tomorrow, and then we get right back into it, okay? I got a question before we start off, or whether a prompt, if you will. If you want the Ravens to sign a free agent, go ahead and like the video for me. Show it to Eric DeCosta, John Harbaugh, and the entire front office of the Baltimore Ravens organization that you want them to sign a free agent, and if so, go ahead and like the video. Let's start with our number one target. I think that is the best available target, or one of the best available free agent targets, and that is our main man, Xavien Howard, formerly with the Miami Dolphins, is a free agent this year. Man, he's had some pretty dominant seasons, okay? 2023 only played in 13 games, and also, yes, that is not a typo. In 2023 and 2022, he had the exact same stats. But if you look at 2021 and 2020, man, he was dominant. 50 tackles in each of those seasons, 16 or more pass breakups, 15 interceptions combined. He was an absolute force. However, he has had some troubles as of late, and that is why I think he's still not on a team, okay? September of 2023, so about a year ago, he was hit with allegations that he had 4 separate women pregnant. And then in December of 2023, a woman posted a photo of her baby with the quote, "Xavien Howard is my deadbeat dad." And then in June of 2024, so what, just about 5 months ago, Howard was accused of sending explicit photos and videos of a woman to her child. So you could say a pretty big red flag there for the quarterback formerly with Miami. Before I move on and keep talking about Xavien, though, I got a question for you. Would you sign Xavien Howard? If you were Eric DeCosta, step in his shoes for just a little bit and answer this question for me, okay? This is going to be the pinned comment on today's YouTube video. You're about to get hit with an ad break. So when that happens, go ahead, scroll to the comment sections, find this question for me, and reply with a yes or a no. All right, let's talk about him, mainly last year, okay, because he hasn't played ball since last year. Let's look at the PFF grades. And again, I'm going to say this every time I talk about PFF grades. I know they're not gospel. I don't live and die by them. However, I do think they're a good measure to look at, okay, because everybody's judged on the same scale, and so I think it's fair, okay? His overall grade was a 55.1. He had a 63.9 run defense grade, and that coverage grade pretty damn atrocious. 51.9 makes me want to barf. And if you look at how he was graded in 2022 and 2023, it explains why he looks just so sad in that picture, because he was graded the 146th and the 176th best corner when it came to coverage grade for those 2 years back to back. And that's where I'm going to make my final opinion on a guy like Xavien, okay? I just don't think it's worth the character risk. And also, you've got enough guys in that room, okay? And so I look at this in 2 ways. Let's talk about the character first. When you add a guy that has character issues like that, that could do something to a locker room. That could explode a locker room. And it's not like he's good enough to where you're like, okay, screw it, let's take a risk, okay? It's not like he was Antonio Brown in his prime, coming off a 1,200, 1,300, 14-yard back-to-back-to-back seasons. And you're like, gosh, let's just take a risk. I know he's crazy. But like, Xavien Howard, last 2 years, is graded 146 and 176 with his coverage grades. So that's not worth the risk. And then you already got enough guys in that room. You just traded for Tre'Davious White. You already got guys like Nate Wiggins, Brandon Stevens, Marlon Humphrey. You got enough guys in that cornerback room. I don't think it's worth it. Maybe if he was a good guy, it was worth it. Be like, hey, what does he got? Maybe he fits with the scheme. But like, doesn't really sound like he's that good of a guy, okay? So in my opinion, I don't think it's worth it, okay? I got 2 more targets for you guys coming up in just a little bit, but before we get into those, I got to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of today's video, and that is our friend at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks, and PrizePicks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. you don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus because it's guaranteed. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts, like Taco Tuesday. PrizePicks discounts select player protections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. PrizePicks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't. Make your opinions in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports knowledge and opinions into real money all season long on PrizePicks. Let's look at my picks for tomorrow's games, okay? I'm not feeling good about Bryce Young. I've got the less on 178.5 pass yards. I've got the more on James Cook rush yards, 63.5, going against the 31st ranked rush defense in the NFL in Indianapolis. And then I've got the more on Justin Jefferson for 95.5 receiving yards. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus because it's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. So happy you guys clicked on today's video. This is Ravens Rundown. And if you hit that subscribe button, you get some things back, right? The best part about it, let's look at number 4 right there. It's all 100% free, okay? You don't get put on a mailing list. You don't get added to anything, right? It's just, you get a daily video, breaking news coverage. We're live every single game. We were live 2 games ago for the game against Cincinnati on Thursday Night Football. Join the 22,000 plus Ravens fans we have here on the channel. Okay, let's look at free agent number 2. Micah Hyde, safety, formerly with the Buffalo Bills. And man, Micah's had a pretty phenomenal career. If you just look back at 2023, 14 games played, 52 tackles, 2 interceptions, 7 pass deflections, okay? He had a pretty solid year. He's 6 feet tall, 197 pounds, formerly an Iowa Hawkeye. And when you look back, you kind of see that maybe his best days are a little bit behind him because of injuries. We'll talk about that in just a little bit, but only played in 2 games in 2022. But the 2 years before that, in 21 and in 2020, he had 70 tackles in each of those, 15 combined pass breakups, and 6 combined interceptions. Okay, but let's tell you a little bit more about him. His overall PFF and coverage grade are 64.4 and 67.2. However, he has dealt with significant neck injuries, and he has surgery that ended his 2022 season. And before 2024, he was on a podcast, and he said if he were going to play again, it would be for Buffalo and only for Buffalo. Okay, so that fact in itself kind of has you thinking, okay, maybe there's not necessarily a chance that a guy like Micah Hyde signs with Buffalo. But in my opinion, I think safety is the number 1 position you need to go after. And also, in my opinion, if I had my pick of the 3 guys, we've already talked about one, we're about to talk about another, Micah Hyde would be my choice. However, I just don't see this happening, unfortunately. Eric DeCosta, John Harbaugh, they'd have to give their absolute best pitches because like he said, just like 4 months ago, you know, if he's going to come back to play, he's only going to play with the Bills. And even Sean McDermott has been asked about him and knows that reunion maybe isn't out of the question for the 2 of them. But man, I'm selling him the hardest I can. Come to Buffalo. You have a chance to get serious minutes. I know you're injured. I know you're hurt. But come on, take a chance. Help us win a Super Bowl. You didn't do it in Buffalo. You got a chance to do it here. So, you know what? I would love this, okay? I got a question for you before we go on to our last free agent target, though. How likely do you think this is happening? Okay, I've been talking about it for the last, 8 minutes. I'm going to talk about it just for a little bit more. But how likely is this? Okay, give me a scale from 1 to 100 in a percent wise. If you think it's definitely going to happen, give me 100. If you think 0 chance in hell, give me 1. But let me know in the comment section down below. All right, our third target and final target of today is edge rusher Rasheem Green, okay? He's been quite a journeyman over the past couple years, playing with a lot of people, and I know he's not the most popular name. Coming into this episode, you guys knew Xavien Howard. You guys knew Micah Hyde. You probably could tell me their numbers, their positions, and the teams they played for. Rasheem Green, he's a little bit more unknown, but I think he's an interesting choice, okay? Let's look at the stats. Last year, did play with the Bears in 17 games, got 2 sacks, 15 tackles. But then the 2 seasons seasons before that, just 2 years ago with the Texans and the Seahawks, had 42 or more tackles in each of those, 5 or more tackles for loss in each of those, had 10 combined sacks. And so you look at this guy who's just 2 years removed from having a pretty solid season, and you got to ask yourself the question, could he add some serious depth? Because at this point, okay, I don't think you're going to get an elite pass rusher. Actually, I know you're not going to get an elite pass rusher because when I made this video, I was looking at the best pass rushing targets available, and I'm not going to lie. They're not great, Jim, okay? They're not great. And so you don't have that much available. You don't have that big of names available to sign. And so you could add this guy as just a depth piece. And I know you waived Yannick Ngakoue just a couple days ago, actually like a few hours before the Thursday night football game. And so do you take a chance on Rasheem Green, okay? And I think you just got to ask the question, when you're thinking about NFL free agency, you have to look at the best available players and ask, would they fit in this system and would they fit in this team? And if the answer to any of those questions are no, then I don't think it's worth it. But if you think you have a guy in a Micah Hyde, Rasheem Green, or even a Xavien Howard that you believe fit in this scheme and contribute to this team, then hell, why not? Take a chance, okay? Give them the opportunity to prove that they can still play. So if you had to pick one of these 3 guys, you let me know in the comment section down below. Is it Xavien Howard, Micah Hyde, or Rasheem Green? Type XH, MH, or RG down below for me. Thanks so much for tuning in again. Hope you guys are enjoying the stress-free weekend. Enjoy a Sunday, not having to worry, not having to stress, and just watching some NFL football. And as always, make sure you guys hit that sub button.